Welcome to Under Construction Podcast, where it's all pure side talk. Yes, we like to dig into the issues that affect tradespeople both on and off site. And today we have a belting episode for you. We are chatting to Vikki Wall and Mark Jackson about taking the traditional boundaries away from sport. So these GAA superstars have stepped outside the national boundary and they've gone to the global stage. It is a great chat. You're going to enjoy this episode no end. So grab a cuppa, turn up the volume and let's get it done. Vikki, Mark, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you're keeping well.
Keeping well, yeah, can't complain.
You look a bit nervous, and just to ease the tension, there's no need to be nervous, but I think because we're chatting to tradespeople on and off site, a big good barometer always when it comes to anyone is the grip strength. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to have a go and see how you fare out. Just so you know, lads, it's been
nervous.
Yeah. I know you're competitive within your own sports, but there you go. John O'Sullivan, Shells, top of the board. Soccer is leading out. So I'm sure
no
for
pressure here.
GAA stars, AFL stars, NFL stars, you know what I mean? You'll want to put that right. Who wants to have a crack off of her? Oh,
I'll go first.
Come on.
I'm like drawing my hands here.
So there you go.
There's always some controversy with this one, so how you hold them and if you put one hand somewhere else.
And so we let's make that simple for you. You do whatever it takes
Perfect.
to get the best score.
Yeah.
We're not going afterwards.
Stand up.
He held it down. Whatever gets the greatest score in that, you're away. Vikki, give it to him.
No, I actually am nervous here now.
Come on. Go.
That was shit. Sorry.
That's lovely. 4 hours later, we're there. Vikki, will you let it go? You can stand if you want, Vikki.
Yeah,
go
maybe
there.
I will stand.
Not competitive, Vikki.
I'm just going to be here for 45 minutes trying to do this.
Go on, Vikki.
Nah, that was shite. 35.7.
35.7.
I'm not going to make the leaderboard. Don't let me down here
Make
now.
me more nervous. Do you have any chalk? No chalk.
I love it that everyone comes in. Can I get a strap for this? Go on, Mark. Jeez.
50.8.
Oh, there we go.
At least you're on the board. I'm going below the last person here.
Go on, Mark.
62.1.
There you go.
Tell us, it's been an interesting few years, but we might go back to the very start, if you don't mind. Just, Vikki, I'll go to you first. Hardly thought when you were starting your GAA journey, heading down for the first time, that it would bring you around the world.
No, absolutely not. Started playing because of my younger sister, so would have gone down, followed her. I was always soccer, wanted to emulate my dad and Michael Essien. They were my two heroes. Yeah, went down with Sarah, overcarried the ball about 8 times, but kind of fell in love with it just because it was all girls. I was playing on the lads' soccer team, so probably a new kind of experience for me. But yeah, fell in love with it and just played all the way up and still playing with some of the girls from under 12s and everything now. It's amazing. What
was the aspiration then? Just to go have fun with your buddies? Like, did you ever think, you know what I mean, this is going to bring me to the other side of the world?
No, never saw it. My aspiration was to make the under 12 panel going down to Carlow every year. That was my aspirations at the time. But then from there, yeah, I suppose Dad would have driven me everywhere and Mum, to be fair to her. But I would have been on the Meath panel by myself for a few years from Dunboyne. So it was a lot of journeys with Dad, sitting on the stairs waiting for him to come home. Like, he'd be leaving town to come and bring me out to Bective, wherever it was, and I'd be like, you're 3 minutes late. I was like, it's just not good enough. And I wouldn't talk to him for the first 20 minutes in the car. And then I'd say, okay, fair enough. He did leave his job early to come and get me. But I suppose the opportunity or even the thought of going abroad and playing sport professionally was never really on my radar.
I know we're going to chat about other things, but you mentioned that car journey. How long did that take, and just the two of you? Oh God,
we would have been in the car 3 or 4 times every week, probably for the guts of 45 minutes plus, or close to an hour.
Because the sacrifices aren't just for you; it's everyone else. Like, he was busting his tail.
Oh yeah, and at the time I was such a little brat. Like, I'd be genuinely sitting on the stairs, being like, "Hey, you're late. You're going to be late to training. Like, I'm going to get dropped. Like, Michael's going to drop me," and he'd be like, "I'm literally leaving like the middle of town to get home to Dunboyne early for you," and he's like, "You're such a brat." Like, but he just never complained. He just used to always go. But we always wanted Dad to drive us because he was a little bit faster than Mum, so we knew we'd save a few minutes on the car journey.
What about the kind of critique? And then would he stay on and watch the session? Would you get kind of coaching on the way home, or like how were you about that?
Oh no, Dad would still be liable to rock up to one of our trainings now, just stand on the side and then just head home himself. Like, just if he's free on an evening, he's definitely a fan of all of us and our sports and everything like that. But no, the critique is always always acutely honest is how I'd put it, and never holds back, but always has that caring element at the end of it. So it's a nice kind of a compliment sandwich, I'd say. You know, he's like, oh, it wasn't too bad, but like then he gives you about 12 things you should work on, and then goes back to the good thing at the end. But I know it's class. Like our whole family is so bought into it.
Mark, having that is quite important, isn't it? You can have, you know, coaches and mentors and people outside that always shape you as a player, but having someone that gives you that kind of honest feedback for just you and caring about you, who would that be for you?
Yeah, I suppose I probably have one on either side. My mother, I could never do anything wrong in her eyes.
Yeah, of course.
And my father, he's the one that gave the constructive criticism. So, you know, she was coming in as dad maybe with the great thing. Dad would come in the middle.
Good cop, bad cop.
And then Mum would come back in the end and sweeten it all out. But yeah, I suppose family are huge in terms of in sport, but in all walks of life. You know, your family are nearly everything to you. So they're the ones that kind of instill everything in you. And we really realistically wouldn't be where we are today without, you know, their presence in our lives. So we're just kind of grateful for that. And then all the coaches that we've all gone throughout the years, you know, there's hundreds of them, and nearly some of the ones that stick with you the most are the ones where you're, you know, 5 or 6 years of age playing sport. So yeah, it's, you know, the amount of different coaches you go through, it's great. Like, it's
mad you say that. I always feel that way. I had an underage coach, Ted Stack, up in the Highfield, and I more so than any, I don't remember any of probably the skills that we learned, but I remember he made me love the game, and I'm nearly so thankful to him that, like, you can put everything else on if you want to go there and you love it. So it makes it kind of simple. But just to the opening question with Vikki, what about your starting off? Like, did you ever think going off, this could lead, you know what I mean, to the NFL?
I suppose my GAA journey probably started a bit different. I probably started later. I would have been a lot of soccer up until maybe 15, 16 years of age. So from 4 or 5, I would have been literally all soccer up until maybe I was 15. I actually didn't really like the thought of GAA. I was really into the soccer. I always wanted to be a professional soccer player as a kid. That was always in my head. That's what I wanted. Growing up through the years, I was probably under 16. It was the first time actually properly playing a GAA season. So I played with Wicklow from under 16 all the way up. And yeah, like when I was probably 17, I made a decision to just stick with GAA, to go down get a college scholarship, but I didn't think it would bring me across the world.
Were you playing in goal at that point? Both in soccer and GAA?
Yeah, so I was always a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You know, I loved kind of just rolling around in the muck and that, you know. So yeah, like I would thank soccer for a lot of kind of where it's got me to today. So like my family wouldn't be a massive GAA family. Like none of my brothers or any of my family would really play GAA, so I was kind of an outlier really in terms of that.
It's mad how it's all evolved though, isn't it? Like from GAA, but like that role, just the goalkeeping role, and even it being nearly like, I would view it in rugby as like a set piece. Being able to kick out properly is just, it's crucial now if you don't nail that. So maybe soccer was a great
well, that's it. Like, I suppose, like I've just talked about, you know, I didn't really want to play GAA. It wasn't something that I enjoyed as much. Like back then, being a goalkeeper in GAA wasn't a sought after position, but probably now it is a lot more so now than what it was, because it looks like it's, you know, more of an important role. Like you have a lot of different assets to your game that you know, like your kickouts now in GAA are so important. If you're not winning your primary possession of a ball, like, you know, that's a huge thing. So it's probably become you know, a position where people, more kind of kids growing up want to play in. Like I've seen a lot of kids growing up now and they're saying they want to be goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Probably 15 years ago there was
no one saying that. You were just thrown in goal.
Yeah, exactly.
But my little boy Jake is playing down in Ringman, and everyone down there wants to be the next Queeveen Kelleher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like if they can follow that progression. Vikki, for you, if we'll go on about the journey to Australia and stuff like that, but it must be incredibly special doing something where you're from and winning the 2 All-Irelands with Meath. It must have been incredible.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I just think we were like so blessed to have such a good group of people, like as in even like all our parents, everything like that, like as in the away games, like they were booking hotels months in advance, and like we were having FOMO from them being out the night before and sending us videos at 3 o'clock in the morning in the pub with the tin whistle and all that type of stuff. There's a great crew of people. But yeah, I think when I when I left the girls in 2022 to go to Australia, like they were still on the beer celebrating from the second All Ireland, and like getting on the plane, I kind of like, I was like, wow, like I actually am leaving like all of that kind of behind for a period of time. But like that journey that we had together of, you know, we were chatting the other day, like being relegated from Division 2 to 3 and senior to intermediate and stuff like that. But then when we had a nice mix of people that had no kind of battle wounds coming in and that experience, then to people that kind of had that holistic kind of experience of going from those grades to higher grades and stuff, it just was a well-balanced team. And I just think we were fairly privileged, the coaching staff, actually some Wicklow men that came in and helped us out. But yeah, like the things I remember more fondly is just the people and the kind of journey of it.
You're so right though. It needs to be a melting pot, doesn't it? You need the right mix of people 100%. That are genuinely scarred from not getting there, or you know what I mean, having the bad days, and then the few that have absolutely no fear to drive you on. Yeah,
I just think we have we had, you know, a nice bunch of lunatics is how I probably deserve it. We love playing a game of Freak of the Week, like as in, you know, but like in a positive term of just being like, you know, what makes each individual themselves, and kind of, you know, if we were saying 3 things about Donncha, like we wouldn't say your name, we'd say, you know, 3 things of they do X, Y and Z, and you know, you'd guess them instantly, you'd know who it is in the team. And just that bond with the players, like as in, like it is, you do go a bit insane, I suppose, and it's the people you see the most, and it is the massive chunk of your life. And there's, you know, people say it's sacrifice and stuff like that, but I don't think any of us ever viewed it as that.
Yeah, that's when you're in a good environment, isn't it? When you see it that way. Whatever, sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you going up through the ranks, incredible. But I know myself, trying to do back-to-back, doing the back-to-back. And we were lucky, we were filming Ireland's Fittest Family out in the kind of lakes, not too far. But you came back to that hotel, and I'll never forget, it was wild, but I'll never forget the crowd outside that... when you done the second year.
Yeah, I think for us, like we were only chatting the other day, so Fergal Harney, he was a man involved with the Meath County Board, and I remember in like 2015, 16, having meetings with him and a few of the other players kind of, and him saying, you know, look around Meath, there's nobody wearing a Meath ladies jersey, there's no one wearing any of the Meath jerseys, you know, there's lots of kids wearing, you know, the men's jerseys, and even the girls were wearing the men's jerseys. And he was like, we have to change that. Like, and that was 2016 when we were going nowhere, like, do you know, that kind of way. And then it's only kind of recently and stuff, like you'd be walking around Blanche and stuff like that, and you see a young girl in the white Meath ladies jersey, whatever it is, and you kind of just pause and be like, oh yeah, no, like that's really important. But yeah, like the scenes at the Knightsbrook Hotel are etched in my brain forever. It was pretty insane. You know, we definitely weren't ready for that kind of effect, I suppose, in the county, and it was just, it was amazing.
Yeah, we were going down for dinner, and I was there. I think I'll be all right, but Davey, maybe you should head back up. You're the only one that could be in a little bit of a joke. Can we chat though, like obviously there's everything that was going on with your GAA, but how did the opportunities come about, Mark, for you with the NFL? Can you just leave us know, like just even the very start of it? Is it a phone call? Is it you seeking it out? How did it all come about?
Yeah, it came out quite strangely. So it came through just a message on Instagram from Tig Leader, who runs a program in Ireland called Leader Kicking. So basically he runs a program trying to get Irish guys who have played GAA, soccer, rugby over to America on college scholarships to be kickers and punters in college teams. And he just reached out to me saying that the NFL have an international program and they're opening up to kickers and punters, and they kind of reached out to him to ID some talent around Ireland who would be potentially able to go and compete. So he just sent me a message to see if it was something I'd be interested in. It probably came at a good time for me. We were after getting knocked out of the club championship after a bad campaign, and we were in kind of the off season, and it was, I'd say if I was still in the season, I probably would have been a lot more hesitant to go near it. But I was like, you know, let's give it a go and see. Yeah. So I went and did a session, and he said, yeah, look, I think you could give this a go. So within 2 weeks, they flew me to the UK to do a trial to get on this the NFL International Player Pathway Program. And then within another 2 weeks of that, I was offered a place on it. So it was a whirlwind and happened really quickly.
Can I ask you about that trial or that practice? What actually takes place? Are you kicking with an NFL football there, or are you kicking with a Gaelic football, or is it just mechanics, or what exactly goes on?
Yeah, so the first actual session that I did was that was my first time having an American football in my hand. I wasn't someone who actively watched American football. I wasn't big into it, so it was literally from the ground up, pure basics, from your field goals, kickoffs and punting. It was just literally a crash course for an hour.
Wow.
And I wouldn't have said I was brilliant, but he obviously seen something in me that was, with a bit of work, this could lead to something.
But we chatted about it with you as well, Vikki. But even just getting the new ball, we all know there's a sweet spot on a ball. But even just trying to find that out for the first time in a trial is fairly daunting.
Yeah, and it took a while to find it as well. But and then you were in American football, when you're taking field goals, you've only 3 steps, so you're trying to get these steps, and it's completely different to kicking a GAA football. So it was it was a big crash course.
Sorry, is the 3 steps a rule, or is it the amount of time they know you're going to be closed down?
Yeah, so it's the amount of time before you basically get closed down. So you've 2.4 seconds.
Wow.
From the time the ball is snapped. So you have a snapper who's 7 yards away. So he snaps it back to the holder. He puts it down and holds it, and then you have to kick it, and all that has to happen within 2.4 seconds. So you actually have to have a lot of height on your kick as well, because you have a lot of big men, bigger than you, coming in
you don't have to tell me I've seen some of them.
to block you down. So you have to get that up and over within that space. So you're kind of limited to that amount of steps. Wow. So it's
Yeah, we'll come back to it. But Vikki, same question to you. The opportunity, how did it come about for you? Because obviously at that point, you were in a great place with me.
Yeah, I suppose a few Instagram DMs as well and stuff like that. It's not
Instagram is taking all the talent.
I think there's a bit more of an official pathway now and stuff. But,
okay, that's all right.
There's different avenues people go down and stuff. I think people reach out directly and stuff like that as well. But I suppose I would have chatted to a few clubs, and then timing of things, I think, one of the clubs had North, who I'm actually with, had an ACL injury in December 22 or 21, sorry. So they'd wanted me to go over then, but it kind of just like that with me. They said, no, I've committed for the season here, I'm here. And then they were very gracious of letting me go over when we'd finished our campaign as well. So it was definitely thrown into the deep end. I think it was 2 weeks. When I got over, it was 2 weeks until the season started. So it was never mind new sport. It was also just it's the vocab you take for granted, if you get what I mean. As in in our dressing room, there's such the small things that you wouldn't even blink twice at. But in team meetings, I just had a little dictionary. So I'd be writing down not only normal words they were saying, but AFLW words they were saying, as in specific to the game. And after, I'd just find someone and be like, okay, you said this, what does that mean? They were like, what? I don't know, did I say that? And I was like, well, you did. And they were like, in what context? I was like, I don't know, I'm scribbling down 50 words here because I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, just a lot of coffee shop sessions of watching game footage and just going through things and asking the same question 100 times until I kind of got the hang of it. But the ball, the bounce of it is unforgiving, and I suppose I definitely wasn't used to that from Gaelic. But no, it was a massive experience, and just even the first time you go over, I think you just have to park the ego and kind of just go back to day dot.
I find that fascinating because I didn't ever really think about it, but each sport has their own vocabulary, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you need to speak that language, whatever about, I know it's Australia, but you need to get up to speed on...
100%, yeah. I was even laughing, my younger sister went and she played Gaelic in Rome for a year, she lived there, and she was saying, in one of the games she was screaming at one of the lads, being like, watch your house, and he was just like, what are you talking about? And it's just those tiny things that we would say on the pitch and, on the fields and stuff, and even something as simple of have you got your gum shields, and they're looking at me like, what are you talking about? They're like, it's your mouth guard. I was like, oh sorry, just tiny things like that just cause a bit of confusion. And obviously communication on the pitch is massive, so you're trying to think, well, what am I trying to say here? So it was definitely a lot of, I wouldn't describe it as free flowing football for the start of it. It was definitely a lot of thinking and stuff like that.
But it's a bit like on site. Sometimes you need to know that language, don't you? Like that.
Being adaptable.
And sometimes I found with the teams I'm in, there's nearly an unspoken language as well that you need 100%. To just, there's nearly
figure
a look
it out,
or a nod that means more than everything else. Did you, at that point, had you trialled or anything? So you just went over there purely off the back of your prowess?
I'd done a few kind of just loose sessions over here, and they'd sent over a ball and stuff like that as well. But no, not to the same extent as I would have probably wanted to going over there. Yeah. But I think there was definitely a bit of ignorance to it at the start, if that makes sense, of just throw yourself in and kind of see what happens. Probably a bit naive and things like that, but always had kind of somewhat of a belief that it would work out and be able to kind of wrangle it a little bit.
Yeah. Family reaction when you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to give it a go. How was that? I know people want to pump your wheels as well, but they can want to nearly protect you that this is out of your comfort zone a bit.
Yeah, I suppose for me, this was a program that was never done for kickers and punters before, so there was kind of probably a couple of question marks to how does this work and what are the logistics of this happening. So there's probably a couple of question marks at the start, but as I was saying about like my family, like they're just totally supportive. If I wanted to go at something, they'll back me to the hilt with it. So yeah, at first probably a couple of questions in terms of how does this work? Why are they flying you out to America to try for the NFL when you've only kicked the ball 2 weeks ago?
Are we really going to leave Mark off in New York on his own?
They're like, is this a real program?
Yeah, you know, are you making this up?
Yeah.
But, you're getting scammed on Instagram.
But totally supportive. Once they figured out this is a real thing, and yeah.
Were they accepting the other people that were there? You know what I mean? Because I suppose we're coming in a different way. And they're kind of, I wonder, could they be a bit resistant to the fact that, you know what I mean, they've probably gone up through all the systems, all the pathways. And
yeah, there was definitely a bit of that. I suppose when we went over, we were part of an international group, so we're all international, so we were kind of in our own bubble. We trained in IMG Academy in Florida for 10 weeks together. Oh, wow. Which was like
outrageous,
on a different level, just in terms of facilities. But
where everyone goes through the tire, there you go, you're hanging around with the Rock on a yacht.
but when I went to the Steelers, there was definitely, you could feel that bit of maybe a bit of resistance from different players and stuff. And I suppose part of that, you're fighting for a spot against a lad who's trying to take the same position as you. So there's obviously going to be resistance in that part as well. Like I remember the first day I got to Pittsburgh, they brought us in for a medical, and they said meet in the hotel lobby at 9 o'clock. So I met there. And the Steelers' number 1 draft pick, he was on the same time as me, so we met in the lobby, and they brought us to the hospital. And he was like, "Oh, what college did you go to?" And I had to proceed to tell him that I've never played a snap of American football before. to the number 1 draft pick that went to the Steelers. So yeah,
small place in Wicklow. Do you know it?
You might not know it.
Oh, amazing! Just incredible though. To have that opportunity as well. Talk to us about it from a personal point of view, sports aside. Of course, you're going to back yourself on the pitch a little bit, but just there, the kind of navigating that vulnerability. How was that for you, Vikki? Did you find going to Australia? Of course, there's not the language barrier, and to be fair, Melbourne is as good as another Irish county, isn't it?
Say, yeah, I think when you're taken from an environment of I'd been in Meath football since I was 16 or 17 at senior age, so you definitely kind of find your feet and you know your role and you know your space in a dressing room and just the dynamic of the team. I think dynamics of teams are fairly similar, but it's kind of figuring out where you fit in the dynamic of another team, if that makes sense. So I was definitely playing a different role for the first few weeks. I think if the Meath girls had seen me for the first month or so in Australia, they would kind of been a bit surprised almost, if that makes sense. But you have to know your role and know like you said, they've been playing that sport for a lot longer than you have, so you kind of have to check yourself a little bit. I just kind of observed for the first while, I was just kind of getting the run of things and seeing who's who and what's what, and definitely kind of knowing who to go to ask the silly questions and who was kind of look at you like you've 10 heads and say cop on, kind of way. So yeah, everyone was super helpful though, as in the girls were more than helpful of explaining the rules in layman terms, and just kind of coaches, everything like that just went above and beyond. So they definitely, our year myself and Erica were the first Irish players in that club, so they were very helpful and kind of let us ask as many stupid questions as possible. But definitely to be a bit vulnerable and kind of allow yourself to go through that process, if that makes sense. Like, there's a bit of unknown of, obviously never changed code before, had never done anything like that, so kind of question yourself, and a lot of time by myself initially I went over, so that was definitely kind of an adjustment period of you're finding a new network, a new kind of place, a new life and stuff, and then add the sport on top of that. It's an adjustment period.
But whatever about the adjusted sport, learning the rules, adjusting to different tactics within it, like you mentioned going to Pittsburgh, like there's great Irish connections there as well, but they have a certain style or a certain way they want to do things, Mark. Did you find that the kind of tactical side of it when you got in there different?
Yeah. When I went to Pittsburgh, the first session we did, or practice as they call it there, that was my first American football practice.
Oh my God.
So I'd never done like a proper NFL practice before. So like even navigating that the way it's just done so much differently to your Gaelic football here. Like there's a big countdown clock going. That starts, that could be 10 minutes for your warm-up. The S&C coach is taking that. Once that hits 0, hooter goes off, and like just people running everywhere to their different positions and different coaches and stuff. So that was my first ever time being part of an NFL practice. I suppose one thing I was actually really grateful for, so kickers, punters and long snappers are always quite close as a group. They'd kind of stick together. So there was a punter there, he was American, and a long snapper, he was American as well. And we were doing a kickoff practice, so there was 2 kickers. So basically, the 2 of us were kind of fighting it out for a position, essentially. Wow. And he started. He went on to take his kick, and I just kind of stood on the sideline to wait, for him to take his, because I'd go on for the second one. And punter came up to me, said, "Get on and get behind him, because if you don't go on and take your kick, he'll take them for you." And like, that's never part of GAA, because like essentially you are fighting out for a job here. And just like, I'd be forever grateful for him coming on and saying that to me, because I probably would have just stayed on the sideline, until someone had it said different to me, so navigating that was completely different. And then, you're trying to learn the rules. Like I wasn't a big American football fan, so I was literally starting from the ground and
playing Madden every night.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's, I was trying to literally learn a complete new sport that I knew nothing about. Like, if I went in to play rugby in the morning, I know a good few of the rules, but this was a completely different thing for me. So that was another thing you were navigating. And then, the lifestyle and all that side of it as well. Like Vikki talked about, being in a different kind of environment. When you're with your county or your club, you're comfortable in where you are. Like, you're just so uncomfortable for the first while. And you just have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, that vulnerability of just arriving somewhere and going, where am I off to? Like, what's next?
Yeah, so it's a whirlwind, really. Like.
Vikki, had you someone like that put the arm around you? Or was there a good enough Irish network there? Or like Mark said there, that punter who was that, Mark?
Porter Wilson was his name, yeah.
Wow, had you someone like that just kind of went, if you stay quiet here, we're in trouble, you know?
Yeah. I think like we're fairly lucky that there is a good Irish community from the girls. There's a few playing over there though, who played at college and stuff like that, so... And it would probably be people you're playing against in Markin, but the likes of Sinead Goldrick, Sarah Rowe and Anya McDonough and even Rachel kind of Kearns and stuff, they would be in my little kind of gang maybe at the start to go to and almost kind of vent, if that makes sense, to be like, Jesus, like, why do they do this way, blah, 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 blah. And it mightn't be right or wrong, but it's people that they know you, they get you, they don't kind of question you, they don't bring it up again. If you want to go and vent, they just won't even bring it up the next day. But just even they'd gone through that exact same process and kind of had gone through those pain points of kind of figuring out, like, why do they do things like that, and why do they want me to run here when I want to run there and stuff like that, because it's just a lot more structural than GAA would have been for us. Like, so yeah, just having that outlet is massively important. But like, I just can't speak highly enough of the clubs, of what they do for us over there. Like the Irish girls, like, as in just they make the transition a lot smoother in that sense. Like, as in they definitely welcomed us with open arms and kind of did like, obviously had high expectations for us, but allowed us to kind of ease ourselves into the game.
Yeah. Can I ask you about the transition though? Because you're going from an amateur sport. I know it's incredible self-sacrifice, but it is. And now all of a sudden you're going into a professional environment where some of these guys have been training, girls have been training all their life for that point. How did your body hold up to the demands of professionalism? Were you kind of taken back that you're at the level, or was there a moment where you're kind of going, wow, these, because they are freaks and, you know, out there, and especially when it's towards one game?
I'd probably argue that playing here in Ireland as an inter-county footballer can be harder at times.
Amazing.
Because you know you're training in the evening after working all day, and you don't have as much time to recover, to get your 8 hours sleep, your nutrition. You're doing a lot of this stuff on the go. Yeah. When you're in America, everything was there for you, laid out on a plate. So it was a lot easier to just get up in the morning and everything was ready for you. You know, there was nothing you had to do and go get for yourself. Everything was laid out for you. So I would say it's you know, that's what you really want as you know, as an athlete, to get looked after in that way. And it was great, but I would argue that being an inter-county footballer can potentially be harder at times.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Vikki,
yeah, I think there's just more boundaries to it, if that makes sense. Like, as in, we know it's an amateur sport, but as in the expectation, the level of it is elite. Like, so I just think when you have, you know, 6 physios at hand and your contact hours are, you know, just everything's more accessible as a professional. Like, everything is just, it's a lot easier to do what you want to do, if that makes sense. Like, you want to do your recovery straight away after training. Sure, you have 5 or 6 hours to do it. That's your full-time job. Whereas, you know, finishing up training at 10:30 here on a Tuesday night, you're not getting into, you know, where it's open to go do your sauna and ice bath. Like, the facilities aren't the same here. So, like, there is just that little gap. Like, I would say the level you're training at and the pitch sessions, I don't think differ that much. It's everything outside of that, if that makes sense. So, like, how we train isn't different, but it's everything outside of that like accompanies that training. I think that just is easier.
It's amazing to hear that, because we are at the level. It's just it's easier to be a pro, isn't it? Yeah. It just takes away all that. Like, I remember my time in Worcester, the saying around the club was, you always leave at 0. So whatever way we fatigue you, by the time you leave the club, through cryotherapy, through physio, through like, there was a point in Worcester we were getting assisted stretches. So all you had to do was
just lie there,
put your body on the bed and just, you know what I mean, they'd stretch you, so that every time, and you're right, then it's so easy to rock up every day and just give it your all, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I kind of felt a bit like strange at the start of how much spare time I had, if that makes sense, because you're so used to, like you said, you know, you're packing up your bag, you're going from, whether it's college training, whatever it is, work, to training, to home, to try get your sleep, to plan your next day around your sleep. And we're fairly privileged in Meath that we don't have a lot of players travelling, you know, longer than 45 minutes an hour, whereas a lot of other counties have girls coming, commuting and up and down and stuff like that. But I was kind of like, God, I can focus all of this time on this type of thing. And, you know, obviously that can come with its pros and cons of being completely, you know, taken over by your sport. But at the start, I was kind of like, wow, like, I just have all this at my fingertips. Like.
Yeah, amazing. Mark, did you have to change style from your kicking technique? Did you have to start fresh, or your way of kicking out, was that the exact same?
There was changes. There was some stuff that you integrate in from your, you know, the way you kicked in Gaelic football, but there was a lot of things that you had to change in terms of, in GAA, I'd probably, if I was taking free, I'd probably take 5 steps back and 2 to the side, where kicking in America, you were 3 and 2, and then...
Sorry, did you try that technique for the first time and were they all laughing at you? Like, was there a moment like that where they're like, what is your man?
No, luckily enough that, in fairness, Ty, the first time I met him, he was like,
don't do that.
You can't do that. But so there's definitely a lot of stuff that I was able to bring across. So I didn't think there was a massive kind of transition in terms of that, which was obviously helped, but... There was a lot of stuff that you did have to change in terms of, like, your trajectory of a ball, which you had to get it up higher a lot quicker. Like, even when I transitioned back to football, just like
they're all looking at
Just
you.
still in the air and everyone's like, what's happening here?
What's he kicking beach balls at us?
Even the kit man hated me because I was kicking it over the back net, and he had to go get them. Will you stop kicking it so high over the bar? But
another 10 metres on the net.
So there's definitely a couple of bits that you had to transition, but I was probably lucky enough that there was a lot of stuff that I could hold on to, that I suppose talent that I had that didn't have to change.
Yeah. Just the kicking percentages of those goal kickers, because a teammate of ours, there was a rumours back in the day of Ronan O'Gara going over to the NFL as well with the Miami Dolphins, and I know for the lads, for the crack, they'd look at the kicking percentage of their goal kicker, and he hadn't missed a kick in 7 years.
Yeah,
like Roger missed 2 at the weekend. Like, you're not allowed to miss a kick, sure.
No, like they say, like the talk over there is being a kicker in the NFL is the best job in the world until you actually have to kick, because and the way contracts work in the NFL, you are not safe in the contract. So you might have a 2-year contract, you are not guaranteed to be there on Monday. If you could miss two kicks at the weekend, and you could be gone packing your bags on Sunday, and they'll just get in another kicker on Monday to fight out for a position the following weekend. So it's the most cutthroat position on the field. I suppose like an O-line or D-line, they have to learn a full playbook. So you are valuable to them because you know that.
Yeah.
But as a kicker, you don't need to know as much of that of the playbook and stuff. So you're just so replaceable to them. So if you were to go and miss 2 kicks at the weekend, what they will do is they'll call 5 kickers. They'll come in to the facility on Monday, and they'll fight it out to be the kicker the following weekend, because there's just so many kickers going around, and they're all fighting out for jobs, and you're not safe as a kicker in the NFL.
That'd be a good boost to the confidence. 5 new kickers coming in on Monday.
Nothing like seeing them in the car park going, it didn't go well.
And your name's gone off the lock. You're like...
Vikki, did you have a ruthless side of it like that? Is there part of it that you saw that you went, yeah, this is professional sport, this is the kind of pointy end of it. If you're not producing the goods, you're gone. Yeah,
I think so. And I think, it's those exit meetings at the end of the year, and people you've spent the time with, and then all of a sudden, bam, they're just gone, and you're kind of, oh, right, yeah. No, that's reality, like, is in. And like, it's like you said, it's your job. Like, it's not like you've got, not that it's not comparable, but if you get dropped off a panel of something, you still have your full-time job, whereas when this is your kind of full-time job, you're kind of thinking, oh, right, like, that can be taken from you fairly swiftly if you're not performing and things like that. Now, it definitely wouldn't be as cutthroat as that, because otherwise I think a few kickers would have been in on Monday for a few of our team for missing a few set shots. But I think it's that element of realising, as much as, it's the chat of community and family and team meetings and stuff like that, if it is a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, I have a memory of that with it, just even injured players, where you mentioned the exit kind of meetings and stuff like that, but just the kind of ruthless side of it. A good teammate of mine, Damien Varley, trained with us on the Tuesday, but in the end of the session got injured in a scrummaging session, went off, got scanned. Unfortunately, there was something up with his neck, and he had to retire there and then. So the next time we met up on the Thursday, he announced that he was going. And this incredible emotional meeting where he kind of thanked everyone in the room and then walked out. And I'll never forget it. For about 10 seconds, there was silence. And then all of a sudden, someone
just
went...
into a team meeting or something.
Yeah, just someone went, okay, what are we doing off kickoffs on the... And you're like, wow, this is... You're
like you said, you're just so replaceable. Like
but it's harsh when you're in the environment.
I know, especially when it's one of your friends as well. You're thinking, oh.
But for you, Vikki, seeing getting 2 goals in a grand final, like incredible. It must have been unbelievable for you to not only, make the transition, but to dominate in the sport and to be such an important player to get him over the line.
Yeah, no, it was unreal. I think there's definitely a few elements that the GAA could take from the AFLW grand finals. Live performances at half time and things like that. It's definitely an event. That kind of way. Yeah, like playing in the grand final, and I was laughing with the girls. I was saying when they were singing the Australian national anthem, I closed my eyes and just tried to do my own little version of Aaron Levine, just to prove a point to myself.
The other one's all right though.
Yeah, no, it is actually all right to be fair. But I was like the rhythm was a bit off, so I was kind of messing up my timings. But I think playing into that game, and even that period of time, like my mum and dad had come over for a month. They were gone home, and then I missed one of my best friend's weddings the week before and stuff like that. So I think going into that grand final, I just felt like, oh, like I'm going to prove a point here. Like I'm here for such a purpose, like as in not losing it, like just being here for such a reason. And to, like, they'd lost the year before, and I hadn't been over that year. So I was just, we just definitely felt that, redemption arc and things like that. But just even, it was just a strange experience. I'm so used to having, 50 people you can go to after a game that are your support network, your family and things like that. But after the game, I live with Anya McDonough. She's from Galway. So, straight away trying to find her in the crowd. And then just even the other Irish girls on the team, like Niamh Martin, talking about, sport being replaceable. Like she had played the grand final the year before and was really unfortunate to be left out of the squad last year. So just even having that understanding and, going straight over to her and just different emotions. But no, it was amazing, like as in winning that grand final. And, I was like Jen Dunn, who we would have played against with Dublin, marking her at some stages throughout the final. So it's just funny, those kind of things that work out and stuff like that. But yeah, no, winning it was funny. It's definitely a bit different to an All-Ireland. Like you're getting measured for a ring the next day, and I was just like far from getting measured for a ring for winning the championship, like as in. And they've the t-shirts printed already, and I'm like, could you imagine getting a t-shirt printed with champions on it for an All-Ireland final before you won it? Like get that away from me. Like I was glad I didn't know about those t-shirts beforehand.
But Vikki, it's amazing you say that, because you could, sorry, not being harsh, you obviously bought in. Like you mentioned there that you'd lost before. Yeah, like you buying into the culture and nearly the disappointment. You're not just a hired gun over there. You know what I mean? It's not, I'm just here to look after myself.
Yeah, I kind of don't believe in that, if that makes sense. Like, as in, I think, like, I know you hear stories of teams that, people can hate each other and they go out and perform on the field. But I just think in female sports, like as in, I would counter argue that, like, I don't think that that's possible. Like, I think that connection and the understanding, and like we'd sit there when we would travel at the weekends, and the questions you'd be asking each other, like if everyone heard, they'd be like, why do you care to know that about each other? And just like the connection you have with even like the Aussie girls, like you might know them only 6 months, but you spend so much time with these people that I think like understanding what makes them tick is so important, like as people. And I just think the girls, a lot of the girls, when our club wasn't one of the initial clubs in the league over there, but a lot of the girls would have had links with it through their universities and stuff. So they all came the first year, and they'd gone through a lot of ups and downs and had a good year in COVID the year before I'd gone over. But obviously the competition got cancelled. So for them it was almost funny if they were that kind of people that had gone through the ringer and had seeing the ups and downs, and we were those kind of fairies coming in saying, oh, this is great and stuff like that. But it was kind of interesting being on that side of it, if that makes sense. But almost winning it for seeing some of the other girls' reactions, like I was living a bit vicariously through them as well, if that makes sense.
You're a good egg, to be fair to you, because you know what I mean. Like I've been in dressing rooms where lads don't get on, and it's kind of okay if you can still perform it on the pitch. Did you have moments like that when you went into the NFL system, Mark? I
suppose NFL locker rooms, they work a bit different. You've probably 80 guys in a locker room, and
80? Where do you fit them all?
You should see the size of these facilities.
Wow.
There'd be a lot of guys that just wouldn't talk from one end of the year because they're so different in terms of, like, lads are coming from completely different backgrounds. Whereas, like, you have your different groups within the team, like your special team group, they'd often be quite close. Your offense would be close, your defense would be close, but they might not be close from one to the other.
Yeah, so, I get you.
Yeah, in terms of the culture around it, it's definitely a lot different than what it would be with your club team or your county team. Because just the amount of numbers is so big.
Back with Wicklow now, though, but is there still a burning desire to get back out there with the NFL?
No. Last year gone, there was I was asked to kind of go back out, and I kind of had an itch there because I felt probably that I nearly went too soon, that I wasn't fully ready after trying something for 2 months. You're kind of like, was I fully ready to compete in the NFL Combine, the biggest scouting trial in the world? Like, so I kind of had that itch where I was like, I would be so much better off going again, and I'd be so much more ready. And that kind of was in the back of my head. And last October, I tore my quad off the bone and had to get two operations to get it reattached. So that was kind of the dream killed at that.
Wow. How's that recovery going?
Yeah, good. I got back on the field about a month ago. So
how'd you do that?
Playing in a county final. The week before the county final, I had a grade 1 tear in it. And kind of said, all right, I'll rest it up for a week and I'll play the final. And by the end of the warm-up, I'd say it was probably a grade 3. And then by the time I played the full game, critically, and by the end of the game, it was fully...
It was more than a grade 3, yeah.
It was fully tore off the bone.
Wow.
So, yeah, look, that took me a bit of time to kind of get back from. And, yeah, I don't know if the body would be kind of... just a load on the kicking over there would.
Vikki, you're one of these annoying people that you're not only good at one sport, then you dominated in Australia, nail it in Meath, and then you go on to sevens. Yeah. Like, is there nothing you can't do?
There's plenty. There's plenty.
Did you fly the plane over?
No, my eyesight would not allow for that.
Tell us the move then to playing sevens, because again, there's a total different, a game in terms of, I can see the crossover with AFL, you know what I mean? In terms of, but like sevens is cruel.
Yeah, no, it definitely is cruel, and I would say definitely the hardest sport I've played, like just in terms of the relentlessness of it, and just the, you think you're up and then next thing another team is back within 20 seconds, just how quick it is, it is so just fast. It's so quick.
It's everything I hate in sport. Skillful, fast.
Playing on lovely pristine pitches.
Exactly,
yeah. But no, it was an amazing experience, as in I'm beyond grateful for it, and I think because of the transition I'd done to AFL, I just kind of had a bit more faith in that process, if that makes sense. I was a little less impatient. I think in Australia I was impatient, for things to be as they are here as quick as possible, whereas I kind of knew that that's not the case. It's not how it happens. And it was a massive transition, very, very tough, as in I wasn't shying away from how tough it was to get into it, and it's just a different, it's similar to AFL, but then it's also not in so many different ways, the tackle tech, and just, it's completely different, and just the structures and the plays and just nuances of things that, are very specific to the sport, if that makes sense.
Like a ruck, you know what I mean? I remember a buddy of mine coming over from rugby league, and at first ruck he was like, what is going on here? Is happening here?
Yeah, no, but credit to every single one of the girls on the team. They were so welcoming, and just there was 14 of us when you're traveling and stuff, so you get to know people fairly quickly, fairly fast, and I just think there's an unbelievable bunch of girls in that team.
Would you look at it again?
I wouldn't rule it out, as in I'm fairly content where I am at the moment, playing with Meath and just really enjoying this year and trying to be as present as I can, and kind of not looking to what's next and what am I going to do and things like that. But no, I definitely wouldn't rule it out. I really enjoyed it.
There's a Rugby World Cup around the corner. Not looking for an exclusive here or anything, but do you want to give it down that camera?
I will be spectating. No, but as in it was cool to get an insight into rugby. I never would have had exposure to rugby around Dunboyne or even in school and things like that. And I think sometimes it can just take one person being interested, if it's a teacher, whoever it is. But no, I'm really grateful for the year that I had with the sevens. It was an amazing experience. The travel and just the people you're exposed to is unreal.
Yeah, 3 sports. It is quite incredible. We see it. Christian Wade in England he went to the NFL with the Bills. Played rugby union, now he's signed and playing rugby league with Wigan next season. Mark, any other sports you're kind of looking at, kind of going, do you know what? There's chat of an ice hockey team going in Dublin. Do you kind of go, yeah, I can do that? What do you do that? Fill a goal out with a load of pads.
No, I think I'm happy enough where I'm at with Gaelic football at the minute. Don't get me wrong, the time I had in America was, something I'll never forget. I'm completely grateful for. Look, I love playing for Wicklow and my club. I want to put all my focus into that, and yeah, look, it's a privilege to play for your county as well. And when you're in the middle of it, you're kind of you don't really see that. But no, look, I'm very happy. Playing for Wicklow.
How do you stay motivated, lads? What's the drive? Is it the personal drive to always kind of get better, or like you said, is it the the club drive, getting the county drive, or is it a bit of it all? Vikki, what's your personal motivation to keep lighting it up?
I think that it goes in ebbs and flows. Like, I think there's different times that different things drive you, if that makes sense. Like, whether it's a personal battle that you've lost on the field and you're getting to play that opposition again, or just, consistently wanting to be better or wanting to prove a point. Like, I just think you're never done proving a point. But specifically with Meath, I think when I missed out on being there for a period of time and took a step away from it, like, I am just enjoying football this year. Like, I'm just so happy to be where I am and to be playing with the girls and just not taking any of it for granted, if that makes sense. And the people around us, like, I'm just so happy where I am at the moment. Motivation, I just think, like, I always just want to be better. Like, I know it's such a cliche, but like, constantly looking at like my life holistically, and like elements outside of sport, like going to training and showing up is so easy. Like, that's the easy part. That's like, that's a small part of your week. Like, majority of our week is spent away from the county team and spent away from the girls themselves. So it's like, how do I act in every aspect of my life?
It's mad you say that. One of the best fitness advisors that I had, Bryce Kavanagh, he's a professional environment, but he was there. You're here for in around 4 hours, but it's the other 20 hours that lead to you being special when you get in here, and it's just having that look at all of your life. Yeah,
I kind of like the analogy I kind of have it, and bear with me here for a second, but it's like if you were to give 5 people the same, recipe to make something, same oven, same equipment, same whatever it is, like there's going to be one of them that just looks at it and says, nah, like not happy with these ingredients, want to go get my own ones and come back with it. There's someone else that will just, lamp everything into the bowl and give it a mix and hope for the best, like, do you know, kind of way. So I think that's, but I think like that's what differentiates you, like, obviously there's some weeks where you're going to be happy enough with those ingredients and it's just getting by with, whatever is going to be cooked in the oven. There's other weeks where you're thinking, no, I have to have the highest standard of things here. And it's like, how consistently can you be doing that all the time?
I always found that great, though, part of team sports, because maybe you have the drive today, but we all have those
Someone
days.
drives you the next day.
Have you had times like that, Mark, where there's been drivers in the room and when your head is spinning and they've like, we've got you, man, just tag on here?
Yeah, absolutely. Like every kind of group has leaders within it that try push the standards and want to make things better. I suppose as a person, like, just the motivation is just to be better every day. Like, it's just that competitor, they just like, and the ego that you just want to be better than the person next to you, and you just like, it kills you if someone is better than you at something, like whatever it is, like, you just want to be better. And it's just, that is a big motivation. You always want to be the best, play against the best. And, obviously, like playing for Wicklow, you're in, we've been in the doldrums for quite a while, and being part of Wicklow, when I finished playing for Wicklow, I wanted to be in a lot better place than when I started in it. And that's a big kind of motivating factor for me. You want your county to progress, and I'd love to see Wicklow, get to the Division 2, Division 1, and be in uncharted territory where it's never been before. And maybe I might be one person, but there's a lot of people that want the same thing, and that is definitely a motivating factor.
A lot of girls and boys would have aspirations to follow your journey, now, regardless of the NFL side of it and the AFL side of it, playing county and representing like you've done, but you've brought it onto a global stage. What bit of advice would you have for girls or boys listening, or someone that, has that burning ambition, someone, if you'd heard it a few years ago, that you thought would have been helpful?
Yeah, I suppose specifically for younger girls, I just say, just because it's been done that way, don't accept it, and always ask questions and always push for more, because I just think there's a massive scape for female sports, and for us to constantly demand more. And then just as players, just to again ask questions, like, as in, don't be afraid to be the idiot that's asking the question for the 10th time, to make sure you get the why. Like, as in, I think it's important to know why you're doing things, and to not be afraid to understand, rationale behind things, and just to enjoy it.
It's such a massive point. We had a rule in our dressing room that there was no such thing as a stupid question. Yeah. There genuinely wasn't. And then you had, what I always noticed, are brilliant leaders would ask the stupidest ones nearly. Yeah. Because they're not asking it for them. They know it inside out, but they know there's probably a girl or boy.
People afraid to ask it.
Exactly. Yeah, and just having that ability to it. I love that you say, though, that especially in girls' sport, we can't accept what's gone on before. We have to shake the foundations of it and look for better.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. What about for you, Mark? What bit of advice?
Yeah, I think when you're playing sport, you play your best sport when you're enjoying it. So definitely for young kids, enjoy it. Enjoy every second of it. There's no cap on the hard work you can put into something. So just give it your all. And yeah, great things will come when you work hard at it and you enjoy it.
Yeah, it is so true, isn't it? Like, honestly, the graph gets you through it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what, when you're successful in something, then that's what makes it so much more pleasing, because you've put absolutely everything you can into something.
Yeah.
And just when you win something and that final whistle goes, just everything that leaves your body, it's just like that. Them couple of seconds are like, you might only get a couple of them in your career, but they last a lifetime.
You're right, man. You've given me tingles. Tingles just thinking about it. That special moment.
Yeah.
You just wish you could drink it forever. But it's unique, and it's because there's more troughs than peaks, isn't there?
100%, yeah, absolutely. And you do learn a lot from them. But you're right. Like, as in those moments of looking around and being like, "Geez, this was some slog, but it was worth it." Like, as in that, it's so pleasing when you're like, "Yeah, we actually have worked for this. It's not fluke. It's not luck. It's nothing but hard work." Like.
Yeah. Well, ye are the pin-ups for that. Can I thank you so much for joining us on Under
Thanks
Construction, and wish you the very best. I just think, for anyone listening out there, to not accept the limits, to push yourself, to actually have the balls and the courage to say, yeah, I can step out here and give something a go. I think your lessons have been incredible. So, Vikki, Mark, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks a million for
Thanks
having us.
That's it for this episode of Under Construction, with thanks to Chadwicks. A massive thank you to you for listening. Also to our fantastic guests. If you'd like to subscribe or follow, we'd really appreciate it. Or you can hit the like button. See you next time.